That's great. All right, cool. Well, we are live right now, and I am here with my friend Michael Horton, and we're just going to wait for a couple minutes to let people get on here. He and I are just going to chit chat. I'm going to ask him what the weather's like because I haven't talked to him in a few days. And yeah, we'll just start talking for a few minutes. So if you're coming in the middle of our conversation, we'll get started here in about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll start rolling. And but until then, we're just going to chat. So, Michael, remind me, what city are you in? Where are you at?
I live in Menifee, California,
Okay.
kind of near Palm Springs, between LA and San Diego, and it was 85 degrees today.
Wow, that's great for you.
The rest of the country is frozen, from what I understand.
Right, right. Well, I don't remember what today was. I think for here in Oklahoma, I'm in Tulsa area. I think it was probably middle 50s, which isn't bad at all.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it
that's
wasn't bad. I had my window open. It was great.
right.
But it was nice. And in fact, you know what? I'm not going to ask you questions that I'm going to have to do it twice. I'm not going to get into those, so I'll wait on those. I know that we might talk about this in a few minutes, but you and I are going to be attending a summit here in a few weeks together. I'm embarrassed to say the date is, what is it? I don't remember. Um,
March. I
is it
should
like the
know that off
6th,
the
I
top of
think?
my head as well.
Yeah. Well, there is a. Oh, by the way, I want to say hi to a couple of you people that are getting on. Music Chick Art. I'm sorry, I don't know what your name actually is, but good to see you. Hello from Toronto, Canada. Glad you're here with us. And then I see somebody from East Texas. Good to have you here. Do you find that date?
I think it's the weekend of March, like 12, 13.
14th. Okay. So there is guys, I don't know if there's any openings for this, but after this session that we talk, I'll go and check it out and see if there are. But there's a Glowforge Summit that is being hosted in California. And Michael and I are both going to be there. He's going to be there for a Saturday. I'll be there through 4 days. And right now I'm just attending, but who knows? I might host something. We'll find out. But it's going to be fun. I bet there's going to be quite a few people there. I think they're looking at probably the 40 to 60 number area, probably. So it's going to be fun to hang out and get to know each other, and that'll be a lot of fun.
March
Hey, I
3rd
want to say
through
hi
7th.
to what's that?
March 3rd through the 7th.
3rd through the 7th. Excellent. Hey, Diane Potter, I see you. NorCal, yes. Carl, you're Australia, 23
Wow.
centigrade. Yes. Belinda is watching from Australia also. Hey, we got 2 Australians here together. That's exciting. So I'm embarrassed to ask. I have no idea what time it is in Australia.
I was
So
wondering
Belinda
the
or
same
Carl?
thing.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't even know what day it is. Right? Man, I'm so glad to have you guys. We're going to wait about another 60 seconds here, and we're going to start jumping into this conversation. I see we've got almost 20 people here watching with us. This is fun. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever for me or for Michael, put it in the chat there, and I will try to jump in there. Belinda says it's lunchtime, 1 p.m. on Wednesday.
Interesting.
I'm a big fan of lunchtime any day of the week. I love it. That's great. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever for either one of us, just pop it there in the chat. I'm going to be monitoring that, and I'll ask Michael if it's for him or myself, and we'll jump in there. But let's go. And by the way, if you miss any of this, you can. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat again. Carl said that he and Belinda are neighbors. Just kidding, they're not. But if you guys get in late or you have to leave early, that's okay because this is going to be recorded. You can watch this on demand 24/7. So if you have to leave, that's great. Do what you got to do. But we're going to keep talking. So let me just stop right here and kind of start again officially. I want to say welcome to everybody. I've got my friend Michael Horton here from the Friendliest Glowforge group on Facebook, among other places. And we're going to spend some time talking about a lot of things. You'll get to know him a little better, get to know what he does. He's got a lot of great resources on YouTube that I'm going to point you guys to. And I just want to tell you early and often, go join his group. It is called the Friendliest Glowforge group on Facebook for a reason. That it is really full of friendly people. And I'll say on his behalf, it is about the people because, I have a group, but honestly, it's only as good as the people in it, and it's great. He's got fantastic people over there. I'm going to ask you on the spot, how many people do you have now? It's a lot.
It just broke 11,000.
That's great. 11,000. That's fantastic. So you guys go make that number go up. hit that link that I put in the description there, and I'll put it here on the screen again. But go join his group. You'll be glad you did. So, Michael, let's let people give you a little bit. First of all, I just broke the news that you have a Facebook group. Tell us a little bit about how you got started with lasers, and then kind of how you into a group there, kind of just stream of consciousness.
Absolutely. So I happen to be sitting right now in my school's makerspace, and I'll give you a quick tour. There's our glow forge, and we have all of our paints and sandpaper. We have table saw. If you've never seen one of these, this is a full plywood size sheet CNC, but it stands up, so it doesn't take up much space, and a band saw, and joiners and planers. I don't even know what those do, but we have them. A router table over there and a bunch of wood. So I started with the glow forge at school. I am currently the assistant principal of a school, and we hired a makerspace teacher who was incredibly knowledgeable. We bought him a glow forge, and then he left. And so I was the number 2 guy in line who knew how to use it. And so now it's become incredible for me. I go in to each one of our makerspace classes a few days a year and teach them how to use Inkscape and the glow forge. So that's how I got into lasers, by teaching students how to use it. And then I started teaching them how to design and the design process. And then I started designing my own. But I got burned a couple of times on Etsy buying SVGs from people who didn't have lasers, and there was just like screenshots of the SVG but no physical product of it. And then I tried it and it didn't work. So I thought, if I'm going to sell products, I'm going to test it first. So I bought a K40 at home. I bought a $20 broken K40 on OfferUp. I fixed it for $45. It needed a new power supply. And then I started making earrings, because the K40 bed is only about this big, and earrings and ornaments are about the only thing you can make with it. So I ended up modifying it to have like a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper size bed that was adjustable. So I could do different thicknesses, but you have to 3D print and cut things and add pumps and drag chains and flammable nozzles and add air assist to it. So I don't recommend K40s unless you're a tinkerer who loves 3D printers, which I absolutely hate. I've spent hundreds of hours fixing our school 3D printers. I despise 3D printers, but if you love them, K40 might be for you. And then I got a diode laser, an Atom Stack A5, and they're cool and they're simple, but if you want to engrave a coaster, it takes 6 hours, and there's no exhaust, so the smoke just fills the room. You can't really cut anything thicker than a 1/16 of an inch, and it takes 85 passes to do that. So it really wasn't feasible. So now I have a big 100-watt generic Chinese laser at home that runs off of light burn, and it's really fast. So I keep my feet in both pools. I'm still teaching students how to use the glow forge, how to use it safely, how to design with it. But at home, I use the 100-watt Chinese. I don't do much physical product, mostly files. So it was just the price of it really that did that for me.
Nice. I see that Belinda said she just sold her K40 and she's waiting for a new laser to arrive in the next week. Belinda, what laser did you get? Let us know there. That'd be cool to know.
Yeah.
Hey, Carl asked a question. You might know the answer. He says he's fairly new to lasers, but is there a Thingiverse? You're familiar with Thingiverse? Right?
Absolutely.
Is there a place like that for lasers where makers can share models?
There is, but not one that I would recommend. There's Ameede, AMEEDE.com, and 3axis.co. But every few months, I forget how horrible they are.
Yeah.
And I'll download something, and then I'll spend more time fixing it than I would have just designing it myself. The just the resolution is horrible. The pieces are broken into 1,000 little line segments instead of continuous lines. And I forget it every 3 months. And I download a design and go, why did I do this again? So there are places, just not good ones. I go to Etsy. Files are like $2. So it's not going to break the bank to buy a file on Etsy. So that's where my Thingiverse is. Also, Thingiverse, if you search for laser cut, there are SVGs on Thingiverse that you can download and use.
And hey, I'll go ahead and take the time to toot my own horn since I'm on my own show anyway. Last month, I gave away over 10,000 free files. So I give away lots of stuff. And in fact, if you're in my group, if you don't know this, right now, I think there are 12 or 13 free files that you can grab if you're a group member. So please do that. And ultimately, I'll say this to, I'm sorry, who asked this? Oh, I actually can't see your name. It's just this Facebook user. But Carl, I'll say, if you're looking for high quality stuff, hit up Michael, hit up me. We will do our best to direct you, not just to our own stuff, because we'll do that, but also to other things too. We'll help you because we have both been down that road where we've gotten low quality junk, and we don't want you to get that. I will tell you, there's, what was the name of the other one? Did you say 3-axis? Is that what it's called? I was on there again yesterday with somebody they had downloaded something from there, and it was a mess. It was just a mess. And I'm not saying everything there is a mess because I don't know that, but my experience has not been awesome. So just take that with a grain of salt. All right.
Some question. Somebody asked, what do my students love most about working with the Glowforge? And it's so safe and so easy. I don't have to spend 3 weeks teaching them how to use an epilogue and how to use Lightburn. I spend 10 minutes teaching them how to use the Glowforge and a couple of days how to use Inkscape, because Inkscape is free. So it's just incredibly easy and incredibly safe. My 100-watt Chinese laser at home, I can lift the lid and stick my hand in it and there's nothing to stop me. So I would never use one of those at a school.
Right. Right. In fact, I just want to go ahead and just jump into this because you've said it a couple times. Everybody listen, if you are struggling with Inkscape, Michael's got great resources on his YouTube page. In fact, I'm going to go there right now. But I will also say he has been more than willing within the time that he has to answer questions. Definitely ask in his group. You can ask in mine too. We'll get you to connect with him. But he is much, much better at Inkscape than I am. So definitely, you're welcome to ask me, but I'm probably going to private message him and ask him what the answer is. So let me just share his page real quick. I should have prepared this, but I didn't because that's how that works. So I'm going to grab his YouTube channel right here. All right, can you see his channel now? So we're on Party of 4 Crafts is his YouTube channel. And I'll also I'll drop a link for you as well. But Party of 4 is his channel, and he's got a lot of great tutorials here. In fact, I know about doing this at the end, but I'm just going to jump now because I'm here. Michael, what are a couple of the most popular ones that you have on here that you might direct people to?
I think so. My number one, it just took first place, is how to do a multi-process file in Inkscape where you're going to engrave, cut, and score all in one file. That just
professional logo.
Sorry.
And it's just there's 100 skills in that. There's so much more than just how to change the color. It teaches how to trace bitmap, how to do a path offset, and how to align things, and how to change scale without it moving. There's just so many skills in that video. And I was a teacher for 12 years before becoming an assistant. I'm an educator at heart. When I learn something new, I want to teach the world how to do it. Yes. So I don't make any money on YouTube, not a penny. I just do it because I learned something cool that gives me a new tool in my toolbox, and I want to teach the world how to do it.
Yes, I love it. So that's his number one. And then I know the second one, we talked about whether you want to mention this or not, but just how to clean the Glowforge fans without taking it apart.
Yeah, that one surprising. It's controversial. Some people hate the idea, and I don't know why. I have teenagers using this Glowforge 6 hours a day, 180 days a year for 5 years, and we have never taken it apart to clean it. Got the can right here. we use the CRC Electronic Cleaner.
Yep.
And this won't work if your machine is already dirty. A lot of people say, I sprayed it and it gunked up my fan, because your fan was already dirty. This is preventative. This will keep you from your fans from ever getting dirty in the first place. I see every day 5 people who broke their machines taking the whole head off to clean that exhaust, not the exhaust fan, air assist fan. I've never taken it off. And my fan, you can still read the serial number on the blades of the fan. It's so clean, just by spraying this after each session. After every couple of hours of using the machine, or once a day, whichever comes first, we just spray both of the fans with it, and it never, ever gets dirty. It evaporates immediately. I wipe it up so that, a puddle of gunk doesn't build up at the bottom. Once in a while, I take the hose off and blow it from the other direction in the back. And that's it. I've never, in over 5 years, I've never taken anything apart on there to clean it. Never broken it.
I love it. So first of all, guys, let me just say this really clearly. This is him talking from his experience with, I don't know how many students have touched them, but a lot, right? A lot of students have worked on that Glowforge, and this is from his experience. Obviously, your mileage may vary, but I want to point back to one thing he said is, this is if your machine is not already filthy, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And somebody asked again for the name of it. It's CRC Electronic Cleaner. Glowforge recommends the 3M version of electronic cleaner. It's much more expensive. This is on Amazon. It goes down as cheap as $2 a can. Sometimes it's $6 or $7 a can, and it'll last a good month. We spray it pretty good. Like I get in there, and I don't know if this was clean today, but we just blast it. That's it. Done. The machine's clean. Don't have to take it apart.
And again, this is preventative maintenance. You're doing this to keep it clean, which is great. I love it. That's awesome. Okay. So also there's one more video that I want to highlight. It was, no, actually there was 2, right? Did you have one that we talked about measuring the depth for like for engraving a cutting board and that kind of thing? Did you have one like that?
I had one for how to center the engraves on a cutting board, and how to use the Glowforge without the crumb tray in it, with no measuring devices, no calculations, nothing. I'm lazy. I'm super lazy. So I look for the easiest way to do things. And sometimes the easiest way isn't actually cutting corners. It's just easy. And I realized that when I put an 1/8" sheet of plywood on the crumb tray, that it aligns with the bottom belt on the left side of the machine. So that's where the focal point of this machine is. So if I take the crumb tray out and I get the top of my cutting board aligned with that bottom belt on the left side of the machine, then I'm good to go. And I don't need to cut out no math measuring tools. I don't need to subtract fractions of an inch.
Yep.
For those people in Australia, fractions of inches are how we idiot Americans measure things.
Yes. And I got to say, when we first talked a couple of weeks ago and you told me about that method, my jaw almost fell on the floor, because I realized instantly 2 things, or I realized this is easy. And I thought my way was the easiest until I heard that one. And then I realized that's super easy. So if you guys didn't catch that, you can rewind here in a little bit and catch it again. It's really, really great. So if you haven't already, go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button and subscribe to his channel. You'll be glad you did. It'll help him out too, but do that because he's got some great stuff there. So let me jump to this. In fact, I'm also glad that you can see the comments, because we can help keep up a little bit. I saw that someone said they missed the name of the spray. Hopefully you got the name there. I can throw it back on the screen again. And
General maintenance.
Yeah.
Um, I could talk about that a little bit. It's
Please.
basically the two fans and all of the optics. I was obsessed with cleaning the glass tube in the beginning because it's pretty, but that glass tube is just a sleeve that holds the water that cools the laser tube, which is at the center of that. If you never wanted to clean that glass, nothing bad would ever happen.
Right.
I do because it's pretty and I just don't want it to gunk up too much. And maybe it would insulate it and make it heat up a little faster, but you don't have to. And so on the bottom of the head is the lens, and that blue tool is for taking out the lens. You don't have to do that. You could push it out with a Q-tip from the top if you lost your lens removal tool, or I'm lazy. I don't like to take the lens out. So I just twist a paper towel or a microfiber cloth, dip it in alcohol and stick it up there and twist it. And that's worked for me for 5 years.
Hey, let's pause for a second. I want to talk about the lens real quick because I see this not every day, but I see it every week for sure. And I bet Michael does too. People say my lens keeps slipping down and they don't realize this is it. That tube has got a magnet in it, and it pulls the lens up and down to focus. And yeah, thank you. And so it's supposed to move up and down in that tube. So if you push it up in there, don't worry about checking where it is, because from time to time it's going to be in different places. Okay. In fact, I don't know about you, but when I do take mine out, but when I do take it out, I just put it up in there and the magnet grabs it and I just put it back. I don't bother pushing it all the way back up in because it's going to move it anyway.
And the reason I don't take mine out is I keep seeing people who drop it and break it, and they have to wait 3 weeks to get a new one from Glowforge. And I don't want the students to be without a laser for 3 weeks. So I just don't take it out. I could be more careful after I take it out and, put a bed of paper towels below it, but I'm lazy. So I just clean it a different way.
And it works.
The other thing I see people saying is I clean all of my lenses. But there's only one lens in a Glowforge, and it sounds pedantic, but when you're ordering replacement parts, if you need to replace this and you order a lens, you're ordering the wrong thing. This is the lens. This is just a window. The laser passes through that window. And then there's another window in the back, back left corner when your tube is pushed all the way back. So there are two windows, the mirror, which is in the top, this blue thing that comes out. Make sure you put that back in right. You do a lot of damage if you put that in upside down. The part that reflects light goes down. That's the mirror, that's the window, and that's the lens. So when you're ordering replacement parts, it's important to call it the correct thing.
Yes. In fact, I want to comment on that top mirror. I don't know. You can't put the lid back on if it's not put in there right.
People have done it.
But I don't think the top will actually, the top will not go back down.
I don't know how they've done it, but I've seen people where the whole blue part was melted because they had put it in. I've never tried it. I don't want to test it.
Well, I did try. I mean, I tried to put it in wrong, and that lid will not go back on. And so I don't know. Carl also asked, I know the answer, but I'll let you field it. He asked about lubrication. Is there anything that needs to be lubricated?
I don't think so. I've never lubricated anything.
No, nope, sure doesn't. That's great. Excellent. You guys, keep the questions coming as you have them. This is really great. And Michael and I will both keep watching those. So tell me, let's transition over to, you started a group. I don't know how long ago you started it, but tell me when you started it and why you started it.
I can't tell you exactly when. I don't know, but I would guess it was about 9 months ago, somewhere in that area. And it's just, I saw too many mean people in other groups. Like somebody would say, could someone help me with that file? And they go, that's easy. Make it yourself. I go, why do people do that? And then I got kicked out of a couple of groups, one for a bad reason, and one they've never explained the reason to me. And I thought that's wrong. And it made me feel horrible. And I thought, I'm going to start a group where this stuff doesn't happen. And if I name it the friendliest Glowforge group on Facebook, people know that is our mission. That's our focus. But the other thing, I don't even think I told you this last time, Mark, but I am not friendly in all of the groups that I'm in. So it forces me to be friendly as well. I'm in
Right.
some medical groups for like conditions that I have that
Mhm.
I'm not friendly in those groups. And so it forces me to be friendly in my own group.
Yeah. Yep. In fact, I think I shared this with you. I'll just be super transparent. A lot of you guys that know me know that I used to work at a church and I was on a pastoral staff and I loved it. It was great. That's not all that dissimilar to, I mean, you want to be a genuine person, and we both are. We are genuine people. But, when you've got that pastor hat on or friendliest group on Facebook, yeah, you got to walk straighter for sure.
And
That's
so
great.
we
Yeah.
only have a couple of rules in the group. The rule is be nice. That's
Yeah.
it. And that
Yeah.
any politics on any side of the spectrum, even remotely related to politics, is absolutely not allowed,
Yeah.
because I know you're in 100 groups like I am, and there has never been a political post that did not get unfriendly. And so we
Nope.
just don't allow it at all. And then
Nope.
just a clarification rule that people are allowed to post links to their
Mhm.
files as long as they're otherwise contributing to the group. That's it. Those are the
Yeah.
only rules. I get a lot of messages from people that this person copied my stuff, or it's a violation of copyright. I go, I'm not the copyright police. Copyright is between you and the copyright owner, and it would not be wise of me to get in the middle of that. A group can be harmed if there's obvious copyright violations, like Disney files and Star
Right.
Wars files and things. So I would take
Right.
one of those down. But one of the groups that I got kicked out of was because they said I used a clip art. I showed them that I had bought the commercial license for it that allowed derivative works, and it wasn't
Mm.
enough. And I just swore I'm not going to be the copyright police in
Yeah.
this group.
And I think that I'll say this on your behalf because I know you won't say it about yourself, but I think that your initial leadership and the culture that you started with is what helps keep it that way. In other words, as the leader goes, so goes the group, right? And I think when you set that bar there, I think people just say, "Hey, I want to be part of that." And I would, you don't have to say yes or no to this if you don't want to. I imagine over the course of the life of a group, occasionally there'll be somebody who clearly doesn't belong in this culture, and that's okay. What I tell people in my group, like, we're getting ready to change a few rules in my group, and you will like the change, I promise, because I'm actually taking some cues from Michael. He doesn't know this, but
Good.
I'm taking some cues from him. But I've straight up told people, hey, this is the culture I want. If you don't like this culture, that is totally okay. There are plenty of other groups to be in. It's all right.
And I have kicked people out of the group for
Yeah.
not being nice,
Yeah.
or posting politics. I'm like, we don't have a lot of rules. That's
Yeah.
rule number one, and you violated it, and
Yeah.
you're either trying to start a fight or purposely ignoring the rules. So that's
Right.
unacceptable.
It really is. It really is. Okay, I'm going to just say this publicly because just in front of you, because I can't say it privately to you. I've got a note here on my notes, and I don't know why I have it. So you're going to have to remind me why. Why do I have Chris Mayberry's name on here?
Oh, we were talking about Chris Mayberry. He's the owner of Craft Closet, and
Yes.
just also an amazing guy. We've been talking about doing like some group live streams, and he's
Yeah.
incredibly knowledgeable about materials. He has materials I'd never even heard of before, like wood, but with patterns printed on it, and acrylics that glow in the dark and reflect sunlight different colors, and all kinds
Cool.
of things. And he's been really helpful to me when I need new materials. And he has a great group as well, and just friendly and helpful. He sells like packets of balsa wood, and my kids are on the laser designing and cutting out balsa wood airplanes for a competition that he's running, and he sells them in packs of 10 and 12, and I only needed 5. So I sent him a message and said, hey, I only need 5, can you do that for me? And he sent me an invoice for packets of 5. And
Nice.
just really helpful and useful. And school budgets aren't gigantic, and he helped us save some money by letting us buy 5 when we didn't need 10.
I love it. So, hey, I have not met Chris myself, but I'm going to. But hey, everybody, this is the deal. We just want you to meet other great people. So definitely look up Craft Closet and Chris Mayberry and tell them that Michael sent you, because we want to promote great people that are out here in this community taking care of each other. What else do you want to share? I know that you've talked a little bit about. I want to circle back to Inkscape because you have done a great job teaching people and everybody. I'm going to make some Inkscape tutorials, but only because I feel like I should. But honestly, I'm just going to point you to Michael more often than not. What are some other things that you know that you have on your YouTube channel that would help people with Inkscape?
So I think I would start. A question I get a lot is, why Inkscape? And for me, it's I own Illustrator and I use Inkscape, and Inkscape is free because Inkscape, Silhouette, CorelDRAW, Illustrator, they all do exactly the same things. Sometimes the buttons are even in exactly the same place. So it's just about finding the one that clicks for you. And sometimes that's finding somebody who does tutorials that you connect with, or sometimes it's just one, like every time you click Union, it doesn't work. And then you go to the other one and it works. That's what it was for me. I tried Illustrator, just didn't work for me. I switched over to Inkscape and it just clicked, and I enjoyed it. My daughter makes fun of me. She's like, they both do the same thing. I go, but Inkscape clicked for me, and that's the one I took off with. Every once in a while, I'll switch over to Illustrator. I was having a problem with a file recently. It was really weird. Like every time I tried to grab two nodes and stretch it out, like the black line would turn white after it hit a certain point, and it was driving me crazy. And then I opened it in Illustrator, and all of a sudden all these invisible boxes around these files showed up, and I still don't know what caused it or how they got there. And some error message popped up in Illustrator that never popped up in Inkscape that told me they were like cut paths or masks or something. And I designed this thing by hand. I don't know how masks would have gotten in this file, but I could not see them in Inkscape, and I could see them in Illustrator. So I was able to delete them and then go back to Inkscape and finish the design. But they all do exactly the same thing. Don't get jealous of somebody else who has one or think you should switch over. If it clicks for you, you can design in it. It'll work.
That's right. In fact, let me just say more of that is whether you use Inkscape, whether you use Illustrator, you can use Silhouette Business Edition, you can use Affinity Designer, help me with some more, Corel. You can use any of these, and I will tell you, you can make the same thing with those that everybody else can make. So really what I tell you is, if you ask me what my favorite is, I'm going to tell you, that's fine, but I'm not going to tell you, you need to use what I'm using. That's not it. So use what works for you the best, either financially and also for your workflow, and be great with that. The one thing I would say is, I have not thought this through, so maybe it's a mistake after I say it, but I would encourage you to use something that there's a lot of support for. Like there's a lot of support for Inkscape. There's a lot of support for all these. I see occasionally people using something that I've never heard of, some small thing. I'm not saying they're bad, but I am saying if you need help, you might have trouble finding it. So that's one thing I would say.
Absolutely.
But beyond that, like every now and again, I probably shouldn't mention a name, but I will. I get questions about Shortcuts a lot, which always makes me laugh every time I say it. I'm not saying it's a bad program at all, but what I'm saying is I don't know where to find support for that. So just keep that in mind. If you're a beginner, people ask this a lot. They say, what should I use that has the easiest learning curve? And I don't know the answer to that, but what I would say is if you're planning on doing this for any length of time, I don't know that I would worry so much about the learning curve as the tool that's going to work for you the best, the longest. Because pretty quickly, the learning curve is going to be over, and then you're going to be using something. So to me, I don't know that I'd worry a whole lot about that. I would say, hey, you know what? If you're in Michael's group, you might want to look at Inkscape because you got a support guy right there that does a lot of tutorials. You know, if you're in mine and you're thinking about Illustrator, I'll help you with that. Okay. So just make sure that you are around some people who use it as well. Silhouette, there is tons of users. So that's not a mistake either. Okay. So just think about that. But that's just one thought I had on that.
And some people who are switching over from 3D printing even use Fusion 360 to do their design. I wouldn't start with that because it's way complicated. It has 1,000 tools, of which you'll use 8 for creating SVG files. But if you already know it because you came from the 3D printing world, absolutely use it.
Absolutely. Belinda asks, how do you convert an AI to SVG? Super easy. Well, let me actually, so hold on. Are you asking how to do that in Illustrator or how to do it with another program? Let me know for sure what you're asking there. If you're in Illustrator, of course, you just simply go save as and choose SVG. I suspect you're actually asking with another program. So let me know what you're asking there. But within Illustrator, save as, choose PDF, choose SVG, whatever you want there. Carl,
Mark, do you have a favorite conversion website, like converting DXF or CDR to SVG? Do you have a favorite one?
I don't. Do you? I have not actually used one before.
I usually just Google whatever I need to convert. Like if I don't have Corel Draw, so if somebody sends me a CDR file to help with, I just Google CDR to SVG converter. But it almost always takes me to Convertio or Convert.io. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I almost always end up there.
Me too. That's the one I see the most when I hear about it. Carl is asking this. Let's see. How do you deal with cutting ply with glue? Oh, with glue that won't cut. I'll let you go, and I'll add to.
Can I give a funny answer and then a serious answer?
Sure.
Stop shopping at Home Depot.
Yeah, that's Home the serious answer, right?
Home Depot wood is for building shelves and sheds. It's not for laser cutting. And some people have success with it. I think it varies by what region of the country you're in. And if you special order I don't remember the name of the stuff you can special order.
Pure Bond, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, something like that. But if you absolutely have to cut that stuff, slow down, and then you're going to have to sand the edges because it's going to char. But if they're glue spots, they're probably also voids, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's going to fall apart when you hit a void. So just buy your materials from somebody who specializes in laser cuttable materials, not Home Depot or Lowe's.
I tend to agree with that. And again, I'll just reiterate what you just said is if you're having a good experience, that's great. We're not trying to talk you off that. But if you're just starting, I think you're going to frustrate yourself as much as anything. And so I would tend to go to places that specialize. Jennifer said that swearing at it helps. So you can try that.
I've tried that.
Maybe it does. I don't know. It does help something psychologically from time to time.
It makes me feel better.
Right. And then the void's still there and the glue is still there. But yes.
I don't know if you have Menards in Oklahoma. We don't have them in California, but I hear people have mixed experiences buying materials at Menards.
Yep, I agree. I've bought some, but we don't have anything, any Menards around where I am, but I've gone to Menards before, and they do have some maple ply that's actually pretty great. In fact, Josh Wenning from Glowforge at Home, Josh is another great guy. By the way, he's probably not watching, but if he is, Josh, we want you on here. Okay? I've been trying to talk him into it. So if anybody knows Josh, just poke him and tell him to get on here.
And that is not one of the Glowforge groups that I got kicked out of. That is not one. So he's cool with me.
Yep. Thank you for that. Yes. And let me see. I'm just trying to read the comments. You might be reading the same ones.
What area of California? I'm in Southern California. I'm sitting in Hemet, California right now. I live in Menifee, California. Not many people know where they are. They're near Temecula, Murrieta, Riverside, Palm Springs. I'm on the other side of the mountain from Palm Springs.
Yep. Great. Somebody said about saving as a PDF in Illustrator will make sure you have no aspect or size changes. That's generally true. I use PDFs, AI files, and SVG on all of mine. And you're correct that if you unclick responsive when you're saving, if it's clicked responsive, that's going to be trouble. So unclick that, and it should be good. Although I will say this, I'm not going to get into this too much right now, but I do know that Adobe Illustrator has something in their coding that I don't know exactly what it is that causes the SVGs to sometimes not present correctly in other programs. That's really the limit of all I can say because I don't know what it is, but I know that Inkscape sometimes has trouble with SVGs from Illustrator. Have you had that experience, Michael?
I've had a lot of people with Corel Draw have problems with my SVGs.
So I know Corel has a similar problem. I don't know if it's a similar source or not. I don't know what causes it, but I do know that in Inkscape, if you set up your workspace at a certain size and a certain DPI, and then bring in an SVG from Illustrator, that will tend to make it keep its size. But I think actually the culprit, unfortunately, I think is Illustrator, but I can't tell you deeper than that because I don't know what it is. But if you have that trouble, if you use a PDF, it will work just fine.
I've had some people with Silhouette send me files to help them with, and I can't figure out what the lines are made out of. They're not nodes, but they're not bitmaps, and I can't trace them. I can't object to path them. I can't do anything with them, and I've never figured out a solution. So if anybody knows the solution to that, pop that in the chat. That would help
let
me
us
out.
know. We are definitely not experts on all that stuff for sure. That's true. Great.
Another tip that I have for if you're cutting wood, whether it's glue spots or bad settings, and there's a spot where it doesn't cut all the way through. I've tried all kinds of things like razor blades and X-Acto blades, and a razor blade can't cut through wood. But what I have found works is sanding the back until you get through just that little bit that didn't cut through. So sanding has saved me a few times. And other times it's just starting over with different settings or different wood.
Yep. I saw one, Lithos and Lasers said, if you have wood with bad glue spots, ultimately you might want to get better wood, which we agree. But one option you have is to do your first cut, flip the material, mirror your design, and do another pass. The problem with that is, I can tell you right now, with a lot of lasers, if you just simply flip it over, it's not necessarily going to align back again. So although that might work with some, I'm going to tell you with a Glowforge, I have a Mira. You've got the K40, and you also have the other one, whatever it is. The generic one. I don't know if you can do that, but I know that I can't simply pick up a piece of material and flip it over and get it to align again. I could if I was using a jig, perhaps, but I can't just simply flip that over. That's not going to work.
Yeah, you could do registration marks in Lightburn. That'd be a lot of work.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's impossible, because it's not, but there's a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah, I absolutely love everything about the Glowforge except that camera. That camera drives me crazy.
And once you've used
laser doesn't have a camera, and I will never look back. That red dot and being able to trace the outline. Oh man, I love that.
In fact, I don't even understand why. I mean, the frame feature, that's what it's called in Lightburn anyways, frame. Yeah. I don't know why Glowforge doesn't do that. I actually literally do not know. It's so simple. So I'm not sure.
Totally agreed.
Yep. Cut and print in Lightburn. Oh, yep. Okay. Cut and print in Lightburn is new, meaning the last couple of months new. I've not used it yet, but it sounds amazing. I've not used it, so I can't really address that. Oh, you're posting a tutorial on this tonight, Lithos and Lasers. That's awesome. Hey, I'm so sorry. I have not learned everybody's name. Please forgive me. I don't know who I'm actually talking to, so I'm sorry. Would you, Lithos and Lasers, would you message me and give me a link to that? And I'll check that out and share it with people. So get that to me, okay? That would be great.
I'd love to see that.
Awesome. Yeah. What else, man? Anything else? Michael, I don't want to keep you just forever for no reason, but if we've got more things to talk about, let's hit it. You guys got any more questions from Michael or from me? Let us know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're talking a little bit earlier about Etsy tips.
Yeah.
How to drive more traffic to your Etsy. I hear people complaining, I list my files and nobody ever come to them. But I would say 95% of my Etsy sales comes from traffic that I drive directly to a file. How about you? Do you spend a lot on Etsy ads or anything like that?
I don't spend a lot. I do use them. But I don't spend a bunch there. And I will say that Etsy gives you a pretty good amount of information now about how much comes from ads. And I don't get a lot of it. I don't spend a lot. I don't get a lot. I would say that I've been doing this now for files full time for probably just around 3 years. And it's been a lot of working in groups. And especially my group is new. I just started in like November, I think. So mine's really new. Probably most of mine has been Etsy, just organically. So I would say, let me give a couple tips here. I go ahead and I actually ask for reviews from people. I go ahead and ask, hey, if you've had a good experience with me, would you leave me a review? And I just passed, I think, 1,600 reviews, which is great. And I will tell you that if you're buying from somebody you don't know and you see 1,600 5-star reviews, that doesn't hurt. So if you're looking for traffic, one of the things I would do is work on your customers that love you already and say, hey, if Michael was one of my customers, hey, would you mind, if that worked for you, would you mind writing me an honest review? I always tell them, be honest. If you didn't like it, go ahead and say that. I don't want anybody to not be honest, but I think that reviews help a lot, and you got to stay on that and just say, if you loved it, that helps me. So I do that a lot. So that's one thing. Carl's got another question. Let me see. What was the question there? Can the red dot laser?
I know, like, to align the red dot after every time I clean the lens, I have to shoot a dot with the laser beam and then try to align the red dot. But the red dot is so big, it covers up the whole black dot that I just burned with the laser, and it does cause some issues. But I'm not buying a higher quality laser pointer is the only thing I can think of. You probably wouldn't want to use like a lens on your red dot to make it smaller. I'm not aware of any way to make that dot smaller. I have a degree in physics, and I don't think it's possible.
Okay, so there you go. I bet he's asking if you could do it with an aftermarket mod. I bet you could, buying some other something, but I don't know if that's worth a whole lot. That's just my 2 cents. Jennifer is asking me, do my puppies do design work? Some of you guys have seen that we got new puppies a couple of weeks ago. No, they distract. In fact, they do everything opposite of design. I mean, they're always wanting to be in my lap, which is super cute. But yeah, I will just tell you, we have, it's like having little children in the house again. Both my kids just moved out this summer, and I love you kids if you're watching, but it isn't bad to have the house to ourselves either. But I will say it's like having 2 toddlers again, man. They're wearing me out, but thank you for asking because they're super cute. Hey, Linda from Wisconsin. Good to have you on. Thanks for coming. This is great. Hey, what's the weather like in Wisconsin? I'm betting it's a little chilly. I bet it is. All right. What other kinds of questions do you have? And if Michael, if you got anything you want to add, definitely, if you guys have just got here, by the way, definitely join his group. Let me jump over to I'm going to put you on the spot. Let's jump over to your Etsy for a second and take a look at that. While I'm pulling it up here, think about maybe some of your favorite designs, and let's look at those as soon as I figure out where my button is again. Hold on just a second. We'll grab this one, Party of 4 Crafts. All right, right here. So this is Michael's Etsy account, and it is Party of 4 Crafts, PARTYOF, the number 4, CRAFTS. And I don't know, just kind of let's draw attention to something you're proud of, something that sells well. What do you like here?
Sure. I think the ones that I'm most proud of are the ones that I use to raise money for charity.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a cancer awareness earring that the inside can be filled with acrylic or resin with different colors to represent the different types of cancers. And I donate proceeds from that to cancer awareness and cancer cure groups. So I'm really, really proud of those. And when a famous person dies, sometimes I'll honor them with a design and then donate some money to their favorite charity and things like that. So those are the ones I'm really the most proud of.
I love it. That's great.
Strangely, my best-selling file is that one right there, that water lily earring. Very simple.
Oh, where am I at? Sorry. Oh, I see it right here.
Sells like crazy. And, I'm happy about it, but I don't understand it. I have like, oh my gosh, this other one is so much better than that. Why does that one keep selling so often? I don't know if it's the tags that I use in the description or what. I think it's pretty, but it blows me away how well that one sells, being
That's
so
great.
simple.
That's great. I just realized when I click on this, I don't think you guys see no, you don't. So it opens up in another window. So it's not showing whatever I click on. So
That
yay.
one
Let
right there at the bottom, that blue earring that's like half off the screen right now, um,
me see.
right below the women in
Oh,
STEM,
I
which
see
is
it.
another
Yep,
one
I
that
see it.
I'm proud of. So
This one right here.
that one's mind blowing. It's completely flat. It looks wavy.
Oh, it doesn't
I have
look right.
I have a video of it where I'm rotating it to the side and you can see it's completely flat and it blows my mind. And then the one below it, when I was flipping it to make the mirror image of it, to make the other earring, that's the design that it made. And when I flipped it to make the mirror image, I went, oh my gosh, that design is even better than the original. So
That's cool.
I unioned them together and kept that design. It was pretty cool. I have a lot of nerdy designs. I have nerdy ornaments and nerdy earrings because I'm a nerd.
I love it. That's great. Let me look back we'll jump back over here. So guys, check this out because these are a lot of fun. And here's the other cool thing. Michael and I both design, and he designs completely different from me, which is really fun just to see different things. You've jumped. You've jumped into things that I've never even attempted. So this is really cool for me to look at. I love it.
So
This is
an
great.
opposite one for me, like up above there is this ancient Egyptian game called Senet. A little farther, one more row, left row right there.
Right here.
That I think that is an absolutely beautiful file, and board games are so popular right now, and the rules make it a fun game. And I think in 2 months I've sold 2 of those SVGs.
I think I'm gonna try to pull it up here. Let me see if I got it. Did I get it right? There you go.
Yes, it blows me away that
Oh, that's cool.
it's so cool, and I've only sold a couple of them. But those water lily earrings sell like crazy. I don't understand the algorithm sometimes.
Well, and to be honest, it might just be the customer base, right? Like me and one of my guys that designs with me, my friend Tyler. We've been talking about doing some board games, and we recognize that may be a very small niche, but we might still do it anyway because we enjoy it. So yeah, that's cool. Well, so also, I don't want to skip the obvious. Let me jump back to, we actually haven't showed your Facebook group. So let me just make sure that we actually show people where to go before we lose people. Oh, I see, Carl. What's a fun cut you guys enjoy? Well, I think you kind of touched on that. Maybe you didn't. Is there something you enjoy making? Is that a different answer than before?
Because I don't do a lot of physical products, I do mostly files. I could talk about, like, there's a physical product that I do that sells itself, just word of mouth. I didn't even try to sell it, but it's a monogram file that I have mortgage brokers and real estate agents and escrow agents that want to buy it as closing gifts for their clients. And I've sold thousands of dollars worth of monogrammed cutting boards and coasters without even trying to sell physical products.
That's cool. That's good to know. I see that Crafty Meeple says, my board game stuff doesn't see a lot of hits online, but in person they sell really well. I think that makes sense to me because when you're touching something, when you're looking at it in person, it is more compelling, more interesting. So that probably makes sense to me.
And I haven't had a live craft show since I created that design, but I have one Thursday. And my wife does the craft show side. So she's going to take one of those to the craft show and we'll see how it goes.
Nice. Well, everybody, here's this group. I mean, I know you can find it pretty easily. Just if you don't see the link, just search for Friendliest Glowforge group on Facebook and it's easy to find. But this is a great place to go. So if you haven't joined the group, please do. I think you will definitely be glad you did. So that's great.
And I think Mark would agree that I think a lot of people don't understand how much time and effort it takes to run a Facebook group. So after it started getting too big, in the beginning, I had a pin post that anybody could post their referral codes. And after a while, I said, I'm spending 4 or 5 hours a day on this. So
Yeah.
I'm going to limit it just to my referrals. And I hated to write a third rule for the group, but we added that rule that myself and the other co-admin are the only ones that can put our referral codes. It takes hours and hours a day. Like I've been, as we're sitting here talking, I'm approving people who
You've been
I'm
watching
checking,
people, right?
yeah, how long they've had their Facebook group, what kinds of things they've posted, how many friends they have, what other groups they're in. I check all that stuff before I approve someone to make sure they're going to be nice and they're not a scam artist that's going to try to create a logo for your business. I don't know why all the scam artists are logo creators, but
Right. Well, and I'll just say the same things you said in a different way. We work really hard to create a culture that you will like, and so we try to protect you from people that shouldn't be there. And it's a lot of work. We both enjoy it or we wouldn't do it. Fortunately, we get paid a lot to wait. No, we don't. it's free. But just, I will say it is a lot of work. And my group is almost half the size of yours. So I know it's just more work as you get bigger. So yeah, just you guys, when you're in Michael's group, you're going to love it, but also be aware that it's a lot of work. And you know what, shoot him some thank yous and some high fives, and he'll appreciate that. That's great.
I saw a question. What do we do with our waste? And it looks like, I don't know why I can't add to the chat, but Mark, I'll send you a link and maybe you could put it in the chat.
Well, I can't either, actually, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my daughter is an aerospace engineering major in college. And so we've done so many nerdy things together. We taught ourselves to weld. And so we welded just from scraps around the house a fire pit that looks like a TIE fighter from Star Wars. And we uploaded in Instructables how we did it. So if you go to instructables.com and look up TIE fighter fire pit, it's hard to say. You can see a picture of it. So we burn all of our scraps, all of our wood scraps in the TIE fighter fire pit.
That's awesome. I love it. Hey, someone just said they learned a lot from tonight. I'm glad. I hope this has some value too. I think this is just packed with value. And again, you can watch this anytime you want. And I'm going to say this publicly. I hope that I can put Michael on the spot. We're going to do this again. This will be great.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to do some combination, like we talked about, do an Ask Me Anything kind of thing. That would be a blast too.
Count me in.
Absolutely. Well, guys, you know what? I want to respect everybody's time. We've been on here about an hour, and that's good for me. So I'd rather leave you wanting more than wishing that we had stopped. So I'm just going to go ahead and close up with this. Again, make sure that you hit up Michael's Facebook group and join that. Subscribe to his YouTube channel and go buy some earrings from Etsy, man. You're going to enjoy it. Michael, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you do for this community as well.
You are welcome. It is a blast. Guys, I'm going to say bye to everybody, and then I'm going to say bye to Michael offline here. But thank you, guys, and we will try to keep track. If you come on later and ask questions, we'll do our best to catch up with you as well. Have a great night, everybody, and we will see you in the groups. Bye.